Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite podcast show. I'm your host, Mark Kearns, joined by the co-host,
Ken Riley.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
What's up?
I only noticed just there. I always say the host, like you're equally the host. I'm joined by Ken, who's this persistent guest.
I just never leave.
Yeah, exactly. So anything strange with you in this like strange time?
No, not really. Just increasingly learning how dickheady people are.
Yeah, yeah. Like I imagine over the Easter, like dickhead levels like increase dramatically for you.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's crazy.
yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, I know. It's like I think Easter Sunday, like or over the weekend, the guards had a pretty good clampdown, and people more or less people were staying in their houses over the weekend.
Yeah,
But like come Monday, like just the roads were really busy. They weren't like back to normal busy. They weren't like there wasn't traffic jams anywhere, but there was a definite increase amount of traffic that was on the roads and people just out in general. Like it's been kind of typical summer in terms of or start of May anyway, like where the weather is great Monday to Friday, but
yeah.
like come the weekend it's not as good. So like I think Monday everyone obviously was in their houses. Sunday guards were keeping pretty locked down on the amount of people moving around. But like Monday like everybody was out. I think I was driving through Talon. They just sent the guards out then to kind of control the amount of traffic that was going around Tala. At that stage, they started to set up kind of road checks because there were so many people out.
Like that's mental. Like people, where the fuck are people going?
Yeah, I think people think like they can pause it. They're like, oh well, we can get out and walk around, but like it's just like the amount of people that wear out.
Like I don't know. It's fucking mad. Like
I seen a clip on I think it was the Lad's Bible where it was like in Italy there was like kind of in a city centre, but there was just people walking down. We kind of a place where there would be restaurants and pubs opened,
yeah,
and they were just walking around normal, like under lockdown.
like yeah. I don't know. People are just fucking stupid. Like
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't understand. Like even Ricky Gervais was like giving out about when he was on walks where there's two people who were together. Obviously, they would live in the same household, and they'd be walking side by side, and you'd be walking down towards them, and instead of going single file,
oh
uh,
yeah, the state side by side.
they say side by side, and you have to stand on the road, and they look at you like, why are you giving me a dirty look? Like they're like, why do you think? Why do you think
Yeah.
I'm giving you a dirty look?
Yeah, like people do it in work the whole time. Like we've limited the amount of people we can let in, and you'll get like you'll walk down somewhere and there'll be like six people standing in a little huddle, and you're like, seriously?
Yeah, like I remember in one place there was a fire drill going on. So, so you know the fire drill, everyone has assigned places,
Yeah,
where everyone has to stand at different places, and different premises drill it more than others. And with this place, at least a section of the staff were drilling it.
yeah.
The other people that are in the yard, like other companies like that would be delivering and dropping off supplies to that warehouse, were not drilling it. The contractors, which would have included me, were not drilling it. So it was just basically a load of their staff standing outside together chatting while this drill was going on. That only included their staff, and then everyone was told to go back inside. Like, and there was no distance. They were just standing around all in a big pile, like just chatting to one another. And no one gone, this actually might be a bad idea to do right now.
Yeah, like a bit of a stupid time to do a fire drill.
Yeah, let's get all our staff and let's gather them all together for half an hour while they just chat.
People are fucking stupid.
Yeah, so like, yeah, it's been strange times, and it's happening all over the world.
Oh yeah,
Because even our first story, so Australia was one of these places that got a huge shortage of toilet paper. Like I don't think we really had this problem. I know there was a demand for toilet paper and people were buying above average amounts of toilet paper in Ireland, but I don't think
yeah,
we hit the shortage levels that Australia did. And so there's this guy who comes back into one of the supermarkets in Australia and he brings in 4,800 rolls of toilet paper and 150 liters of hand sanitizer that he had bought. Now the store had been only selling these items one at a time. So in order for him to gather all of these items, he would have had to go into the store 150 times in order to get all toilet papers because he's only able to buy one pack of toilet paper at a time.
yeah.
So so basically the manager of that supermarket was asked to come to the desk because one of the clerks obviously said to them like you will not believe this. He had all receipts for 150 toilet papers that he wanted to return as well as the hand sanitizer. Which the manager told him to go fuck himself and said you're actually the problem that this thing has that we have this problem in the first place, and basically then proceeded to cut a deal with the shop manager. It's like, oh, I'll give you 30 cent per like the retail value of all these hand sanitizers and toilet rolls.
Yeah, like, that guy needs to just be shot.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I was kind of thinking of this, and like if you have a receipt and it's within the 30 days, generally the thing is like I think the shop has to by law like take the product. Like consumer rights would say that like you would have it, but like in this situation where this person obviously was buying it and it was for commercial goods, like there's the article went on to say like that there was that he wasn't working alone, that there were people in communities going around buying, so going to shops at the same time or similar times, buying their like one rolls, and then let's say like 10 people did that, and for a week,
Yeah,
that's 70 rolls, and basically they did that for basically 2 weeks, and they basically got their 140 or 150 rolls that they needed to get. Um, and then we're waiting till the supply of toilet roll went to critical, and then they're selling them at increased prices for it. So that's what your man was doing. And now since like obviously the shop's gotten on top of it and they've ordered in more toilet roll to help with demand, and that it kind of calm people down that like we'll be able to restock the shelves. Don't worry. There is no demand on toilet roll, so your man's kind of looking. Oh, let's bring these back to the shop.
yeah. Why? I don't understand. Like, why? If he bought them to sell them, like obviously the supply didn't drop enough for him to be able to get rid of them like at a premium. So like, why even try to do it?
Yeah, the thing is, wouldn't you like? They don't go off either.
Yeah,
Okay, you have like 150 packets of like toilet rolls. Like let's say there's six rolls of toilet paper in each packet. So that's
I think each packet he had was 32 roll.
it's a 32 roll. So like
Yeah,
okay, whatever. So like he has a lot of toilet roll, but surely you will go to eventually within like let's say a few years you'll go through your toilet roll and you basically just bought like a year's supply of toilet roll. You probably bought that at a slightly inflated price than it would have been anyway, because I'm sure the shops are increasing the price of toilet roll so that like people so they can make a bit of profit from it because it's such a sought after thing.
yeah,
But like, or even selling it almost cost value. Like, surely there will be a person out there that go, oh yeah, I'll give you the money rather than going to the shops.
Yeah, like I don't understand how we couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, but yeah, he went back. Obviously, he went, but like, if he was working with a group of people, like, surely you wouldn't go, okay, Mick, go drop back these 150 packets of toilet paper and see if you can cut a deal with the shops. See if they'll be probably happy to take off your hands. And he goes like, yeah, sure, I'll do this, and like not to get like some kind of like abuse off. First of all, everybody in the store, when you bring in 150 toilet rolls, they're like, I'm just returning these.
Yeah, and
Imagine being the person behind him in the queue.
like the thing is that if he's returning them all, and they were only selling like one packet of toilet roll and one hand sanitizer at a time, so he's got 150 receipts.
Yeah,
So like you're definitely being told to fuck off when you go to a shop like that.
yeah. Imagine bringing 150 receipts.
Like you're definitely being told to piss off.
Yeah, so yeah, but basically that's what the manager basically told, and then he wouldn't actually take that as the manager's answer and started to hand over the till, like kind of like, oh, if you take this over, if this crosses this line, this means you have accepted this deal, and I can do you for stealing if you don't give me my money. And the clerk sort of is like, what are you doing? Like, there's no way we're taking these.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, so like I don't know what he's gonna do now with his 150 rolls of bog roll or hand sanitizer, but yeah, I don't think the shop uh, actually end up taking it off him. So maybe he tries to force him to take it under like consumer law or whatever. But yeah, he has a lot of toilet roll. At least he'll never have to buy toilet roll.
Or hand sanitizer.
Yeah, have that ever happened to you that someone brings in a ridiculous like a large quantity of something or
Sometimes what people will do is, so say something's on offer, like, do you ever see the wine maybe is like six for €50 or something,
yeah.
but like their combined price is probably maybe €100, €120. So like people will buy those six bottles of wine, wait till the offer ends and bring them back.
Oh yeah, and try to make money off the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but in that case, like you just tell them, I can only give you back the money that you paid for it.
Ah, yeah.
Like people do stuff like that, or some people will. This hasn't happened where I work, but I've heard of it happening. People will do stuff like, say they rob something.
Yeah.
So like they'll find like a big expensive piece of meat or something, or a bottle of whiskey. They'll rob it, and then they'll wait and bring it back. So like if something is branded with the store name, if it's like an own brand product, you don't need a receipt to return it.
Yeah, it obviously came from the store. Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll rob something that has the store name on it that's expensive and then bring it back without a receipt trying to refund it.
All right. And then the store has to take it unless they have like evidence that the person stole
Yeah, you can just say, no, you're a scumbag, go away.
it. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people aren't going like it takes a really narky sort of person to like to go to the level of like the consumer agencies and go getting onto the governing body of whatever in order to get your thing like that just takes forever. Like it's a
You'd be
process.
surprised how much it happens.
Yeah, but like generally they're like middle aged women who have nothing better to do or like just fucking
You'd be very surprised.
really.
Yeah,
All right.
even even like people that like if you think of somebody that's going to go into a shop and give somebody working there abuse, like you think it's going to be your one that has the fucking I want to see a manager haircut.
Yeah.
No, usually it's like somebody who's like a pillar of society. It's somebody who's like really well known in the community that's like everybody thinks is fucking deadly, but they're actually really a dickhead.
All right. I
Yeah,
you
so there you go.
yeah. So don't don't basically don't discriminate on what a person looks like because they could all be like fucking
Yeah.
complaining little narky bastards. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, everybody can be an narky cunt.
Yeah. Well, one. Yeah. Well, your man was obviously trying to do a real dickhead way of trying to make money by selling off the toilet rolls, but the Spanish pubs also have a kind of definitely a lot more intelligent way of trying to get maybe European customers back through the doors when all this blows over, and
Yeah.
they're looking to sell drink for even cheaper than they normally do. They're looking to sell it for 50p. I think you're the one who had the story. So do you have any? So I'll let you go into the more detail of it.
That's pretty much the
Eh.
story.
All right. So,
It's mainly, I don't know, everybody who was quoted in the article that I read about it was like, you know, like English people or whatever that moved to Spain and set up like pubs, like they'll set up an English pub or an Irish pub or
yeah.
whatever in Spain. Anybody who is like talking about it in the article is like one of them. Now I don't know if it was because it was like an English language article, and obviously it's easier to speak English to somebody whose natural language is English.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they're saying that they're going to basically try to undercut supermarkets to encourage people to come back to pubs.
All right. So so if they were obviously if you are going on holidays, you might like stay to the beach. You might try to still social distance. So the pubs obviously around Spain are kind of a little bit maybe nervous that a lot of customers won't actually go to the pubs or won't go to crowded areas in order for a long time after they go back.
Yeah.
But I imagine like like one of the first things people are going to be do is like book a holiday. They're going to be, I'm getting the hell out of this country. I am going. I am going to go. What like people are going to go mental. People will desperately like, especially if you're Irish or English. Like, I think there was a survey done where they're asking people like what are they most looking forward to returning to normal, and the biggest answer was going to the pub. Was the like it was the thing that people are like, I miss the pub. That's the thing they miss the most. Like getting your haircut wasn't even on the list.
Is that the thing you're missing most, man? Getting a haircut.
I actually got my haircut. Yeah.
Oh, you did it.
No, I didn't cut my own hair. Jesus Christ.
Ah.
My sister actually, she is a hairdresser, so she cut my hair for me. Well, she was a hairdresser. She'd never done barbering. This is like was her second time ever using a razor. She had previously done it on cut her boyfriend's hair, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, she's like, well, this is like you might as well do it now because she had like the style of haircut you have, the fade. I can kind of see it now. If you let it go too long, that fade's gonna disappear and it's gonna be a lot harder to do. And it's like, okay, well, you convinced me.
And how did it turn out?
It turned out all right. She didn't have a 0.5, so I was a little bit annoyed with that. I was like, so I have a 1 going to a 1.5, so a 0.5 going to a 1. But other than that, like beggars can't be choosers right now.
And did you give her the €10?
Yeah, I actually threw her 20 quid. So I can't actually use this cash, so this is basically is meaningless to me anymore. I can't go into a store and take people look at you weird if you hand them cash. So have this have this note with €20 on it. Show your kids. They we used to pay with paper back in the day.
Yeah. I
So
wonder is like will this finally do away with like actual physical money?
well, that's we're going to get into conspiracy like later on in the show, but I did hear like conspiracy being floated around that this thing is being overhyped in order to like get rid of cash. So like cash is the last remainder for the black economy. So for people who don't want to pay tax or is working jobs and not declaring the money that they're earning, cash is king because it's harder to track than like
Yeah.
obviously it's a digital payment. Uh,
Yeah.
so so that's what there's a conspiracy theory going around that governments are overhyping and are telling people to tap because they want to phase it out. You want to kind of get people used to tapping, so as they try to phase out money.
I don't know if it's as dark as that.
No, yeah, no. I think like if you think about like how you got that 20 euro, maybe came from a bank machine, and
Yeah,
then that was put in by like a company who a security company who like restocks those ATMs, so that they would have been touching it. Obviously, the person who kind of fills the boxes that actually they carry to the ATMs would have touched. Then it's touched by a shop clerk, given back to you as change. Then you put into your wallet. People's hands are disgusting most of the time, even though you're still washing your hands. Then like, just after you wash your hands, you'll touch your phone. Your phone's probably not being cleaned ever. Like, yeah, so there's a lot of germs still getting on notes. So like, if you can just pay with like your phone and just tap your phone and then put that in your pocket, like it's a lot kind of cleaner.
yeah. Like just yesterday, I seen money in a till in work that was covered in blood.
Yeah, you're like,
Like
why isn't that
like
being
that's
destroyed?
yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah, I think you can bring it to banks to like they'll give you like a clean out and they'll just destroy it.
Yeah, like that's what we do with them. We send them back in a bank burn them.
Yeah, they just give you the equivalent for it.
Yeah, like there just be some nasty shit on money.
Yeah, really. Yeah, like I think they analyzed notes before, and there was like I think in nearly every single note there was cocaine, and some there was semen. Some obviously had traces of blood. Yeah, but like fecal matter was also on some notes. Like
Like that's just fucking sick.
yeah, like you think you think looking at no everything's fine, but yeah, it's like one of the most germ ridden things you'll have on you, other than your
Oh,
mobile
it's
phone.
filthy. Like it's rotten. I
Yeah,
hate fucking
but there are
filth
ways.
companies.
Like I'm not promoting like working in a black or dark economy, but there are still digital ways of hiding your money. If you like, you can use certain kind of new online bank systems for transferring money to like friends and people like that you could use in order to that's separate from your bank account, like that
Yeah,
the people could still use in that sort of way. So don't really think. I think there are new ways if you wanted to digitally hide your money or work in the black economy. You still could. Just like so, I don't really buy that like in terms of people think that this is a big conspiracy theory that governments are trying to stop cash because it's seen because people aren't declaring it for like jobs that they're doing, side jobs.
yeah. Like it just seems like a lot of effort. You
Uh,
know?
yeah, no, like I like like all the conspiracy things like conspiracy theories that we will talk about like I don't really think it's like that big of a problem. I know there is a certain a large percentage of the population do work in a black economy, but generally that decreases as the economy gets better. So in recessions it spikes. Once you come out of a recession, people start getting employment. People have a lot more disposable cash. You're going to go to a reputable person that will do a good job. So you want to be able to report them to an agency that if they don't do their job right, or you want to make sure like someone working in the black economy, you're kind of taking a chance. You don't unless you know them personally and you know that their work is good. You don't actually know. So you like I think if you're working for cash, you're kind of and you don't know them, you kind of are taking a bit of a chance. Where if you go to a reputable person, at least there's procedures that you can go through in order to guarantee that the work is done right, or else you get recompensated if the work isn't.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like working, like you said, like working cash in hand, like kind of is just the economy shit. It's making an extra bit of money.
Yeah, yeah, or even people who do it like are generally very low paid workers as is, and it wouldn't be a terrible amount of money that they're making. Like they might make 100 quid on top of their maybe 400 quid that they make in a week. So
Yeah,
like would probably maybe cover fuel for them, or cover an expense like that, or cover lunch and fuel for them. But it wouldn't be something that like government are losing out like millions of, that they need to go to like a drastic measure of spreading like an information so they don't have to print notes. And I just like it would be such a long process of like 2 years ago they've stopped making like 5 and 1 and 2 cents. So they don't make them anymore, and they're trying to phase them out. And still you'll get change of with 1 and 2 and 5 cents.
yeah, and you still get new bags of them in the shop.
Yeah. So like they're still in circulation.
Yeah, like it just take forever to get rid of it.
Yeah. So I don't think the coronavirus is going to end cash, but it'll probably be another thing that, like, I think mine and your generation, and probably the generation like up and coming now, like people who are younger than us,
Yeah,
they're all going to be used a lot more card. Like even before the coronavirus, I would very rarely have cash. The only cash I really would have maybe was on a night out, and I go out drinking, and you're paying for cash, and you have cash left over. That's the only time I'd actually have cash. It's like if I was on after a night out, I'd generally just pay with cash, and I'd then have like a load of change. So I'd use that up. When that's all gone, then I'll just tap again. Keep tapping.
yeah, I'm the same. Like I never have cash on me.
There were banks going to bring out charges on tapping, and they've halted that now since the coronavirus. But like that's going to be coming in anyway. So like people who tap will have to pay for it. Will be at adequate expense. You think if the governments were trying to bring out get rid of cash, they'd make it completely free, or they make it more enticing. They'd add a larger cart to the end of the stick in order to kind of encourage people to go on to tapping devices. Like they'd give you maybe a certain percentage back at the end of the year, or some purchases that you made could be claimed back for certain percentages or something like that. They wouldn't charge you, because any way they could like decrease the use of that and is charging people for it.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
And I don't know how we got from tapping onto like Spanish pubs. Like we started with Spanish pubs charging 50p a pint. For some reason we got into like a bank charging for tapping. But anyway, I got a slightly odder story. And this is because of the world of pro wrestling. So we got in touch on this over the last few shows of certain sports or sports entertainments continuing showing new shows and live events. One of these is the WWE. Now they have their own performance center in Florida, and they've been basically staging all their live shows in the performance center, including the big one, WrestleMania, which is spread over a weekend. And
Yeah,
I think like there were 2 wrestlers taken off because they were sick. Now I don't follow professional wrestling, so I don't know if they're sick because of the coronavirus. I know one had leukemia, so he might have not done it because like it's a huge risk to him, and he could die if he got the coronavirus. So he might have said, "I'm not doing this." But like I know two of them were taken off because of medical grounds, and it's now come out that one of the commentators has tested positive for the coronavirus. So there's been a lot of pressure. Like there's been increasing pressure on like the UFC, who has now abandoned any idea of putting on shows because of ESPN putting pressure on them, saying, "Oh, don't put on any shows because it's going to look really bad on us if you put on a show. If you're forcing to put on shows because of a TV deal." So obviously, because Disney owned ESPN, so Disney might have been like, "No, there's no way in hell this will come back on us."
yeah, that's what Dana said. That the CEO of Disney rang him and was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, putting on shows. So basically, he's like a huge TV deal. Like the UFC is relying on this TV deal to stay afloat. Like that.
They announced UFC announced that they're doing a show on the 9th of May.
9th of May.
Yeah, in Florida.
In Florida.
Yeah.
Unless they stick it on UFC Fight Pass and go, but I don't think they'd like even still getting a sanction through an MMA kind of or a boxing commission like would be kind of hard.
Yeah, like I don't know.
There's no one has tested positive in the UFC for the coronavirus, but now that there was a person who worked in the organization, obviously the WWE were probably taking precautions with their fighters, keeping them as isolated from everyone outside of the working arena in order to make sure that that this disease doesn't come inside like the facility. Now that it was in the facility, it was in the performance center, that they thought that the UFC would have to cancel the shows, but no, or the WWE would have to cancel the shows, but no, that they're continuing on. But they are still trying to like do their part for spreading positive information about the coronavirus. So there's a wrestler, and his saying was "get these hands," or something to the saying of where if he wants to fight someone, he'd be like, "I'm gonna get these hands on you," or "I'm gonna put these hands on you." But anyway, his saying was something about hands. He's now changed it to "wash these hands." That's his new saying. Is wash these hands. So that's the WWE's response to the coronavirus: is not cancelling shows, is kicking all the fans out and changing a wrestler's saying to "get these hands" to "wash these hands." I don't know if he says it to wrestlers. Is he going to fight them? Is he going to wash these hands? Because I don't get the corona. I don't know if he brings hand sanitizers down to the ring and just like cleans his hands.
Like, that's a bit weird. Like get these hands, okay, fair enough, whatever. But like, wash these hands. Like, there's nothing intimidating about that.
Yeah, like unless he's like, "I'm gonna wash these hands in your blood." I was kind of thinking about it. I was thinking like obviously the WWE caters for younger viewers, but I wonder if this was like more the '90s style wrestling. Would it be like "get these nuts"? And that would have been his saying. It was like his saying like "get these nuts," but like I wouldn't say that would pass in the nowadays. He could have changed it to that. That's open to that professional wrestler if he wants to use that saying instead of "wash these hands, get these nuts."
Just remember that it's copyrighted by the Shite Talk podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Every time you say it, I want 2 cents. Because apparently he says "wash these hands" quite a lot. We'll be rich.
That's just fucking weird.
Yeah, so like I guess they had to really seem to do something, but changing wrestlers' monologue to "wash these hands" instead of "get these hands" probably wasn't enough. Like I don't know. I imagine that like everybody they're going to lose millions, and maybe they thought like, oh well, we could probably put on shows safe-ish if we just do it in the performance center. And will be the only thing on, the only thing creating new content. So people will have to watch us. It's like the episode of Simpsons where Krusty goes to the like TV tower, and there's a broadcast from the TV tower.
Oh yeah.
Because he'd be the only TV show on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically reality imitating fictional.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird. Like, I have a kind of story that ties in with that.
Yeah, you have the Florida stories on the notes.
Yeah, so like, obviously it's why they're doing their shows from the performance center, and it's thinking about it, it's probably why UFC announced that they're doing an event in Florida in May, is because the like governor of Florida added additional what would you say, like workers to the list of essential workers.
Yeah.
And it includes professional sports athletes, amusement parks, and entertainment complexes. So like you can actually legally have a sporting event in Florida.
Are they allowed to have like crowds at these sports events?
I wouldn't say so because it just says like what was it? professional national sports athletes.
Like,
So I wouldn't say you can have a crowd, but I'd say you can put on an event.
oh, that just seems like ridiculous.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
so, like you'd have like I don't know a football match with no crowd or
yeah. So, like,
a fight with no crowd.
I think the UFC, not the UFC, US, have like kind of overtaken as the epicenter of this coronavirus now, and death tolls are continuing to mount in the US. And Donald Trump actually accused other states of treasony for not following harsher restrictions. So like this is like Donald Trump was kind of like what he does anytime something's going wrong for him. He'll blame somebody else and say it's their kind of fault. Like he'll sink them before he has to take any of the blame. And
Wasn't he? Didn't he though like say that he wasn't going to bring in a national policy that it was up to like individual states to sort out their own shit?
yeah, this is exactly what he said. Yeah, yeah. He also said the federal life saving equipment like goggles and masks are for the federal and not individual states. So you wouldn't be handing out any kind of additional like life saving equipment because they're for the federal government and not for the individual states.
Like
And
I
no
don't
one explained to them that like the federal government is the United States, which would include the individual states of America.
know.
Yeah, so
Imagine that happened here.
yeah, yeah. Imagine like no, these are the government kind of like respirators and face masks. These aren't for the hospitals. The hospitals have to get their own ones. These are for the government. We're going to keep
Yeah,
them in this lovely dry warehouse.
like it makes no sense.
Yeah, there'll be people breaking into the warehouses just to hand them back out. Like like it's very like the whole process, even the like Democratic primary thing. I don't understand because like the Democrat is basically just a party, like any other
Yeah,
party around the world, and
yeah,
and instead of having a leader of that party who is voted in by members of that party, and then they put a candidate to run for president of America, they have this huge nationwide, like costing millions of euro or millions of dollars, is basically crowdfunded by multinational companies so that they can get their policies snuck through, and then and like generally people don't care about the Democrat or Republican primaries. They just basically wait till the election, wait till someone's picked as the runner for the Democrats, and then vote if they want Democrat or Republican. Like it doesn't make
yeah.
any sense whatsoever. They should just like do what way every other party does. Have a private vote, like with the people of that party. They pick a leader and they say, okay, this is our leader, this is our guy. We're going with this person. It's going to be Donald Trump versus this guy or the girl in the next race to be the president of America. Like
Yeah,
that save millions of money. Stop like all this funding of like by multinational companies in order to get like policies through.
but like half the time, I don't think the people that are running in the primaries and stuff to be necessarily members of the party. Like they just kind of like
Well,
run
Donald
people,
Trump.
and
Donald Trump wasn't a Republican member of the party. He came in as an independent.
Donald Donald Trump was actually a Democrat.
Oh yeah, he funded like Hillary Clinton's one of her campaigns. I think he put like gave $1 million to it.
Yeah, he
Like
funded Bill Clinton.
oh yeah, Bill Clinton's campaign. Yeah, yeah, he was always
Like
more traditionally kind of more of a Democrat.
like, and then he just decided to run for the Republicans because they run him.
Well, I think it was because Barack Obama kind of insulted him.
Yeah, everybody's insulted Donald.
Yeah, but this is he made some joke about being president of America, and then or he couldn't become the president of America, and Donald Trump was like, "Hold my beer," which I kind of think it's like if that story is true about Donald Trump, like I have a very very small bit of admiration to like that Spite ran. Spite was the main inspiration for why you ran for the president of America.
Like,
Yeah, so like if that is true, that would be very very funny. Uh, but yeah, like there's weird states, and like states are coming out like on national TV programs saying that we weren't actually convinced that people weren't don't show signs for up to 4 days or 2 weeks before, and they could still infect other people. This is like new information to us, so we are not going to be closing it. We are going to take more drastic action. It's just like this is happening. They're saying this is the start of May.
like, I don't know. Like, are people just choosing to ignore information, or are they just like,
100%. People are choosing to ignore information. They're choosing to ignore that they have symptoms. They're choosing to ignore that they're not operating in any safe manner. People want to live the as close to a normal life as possible, no matter how many people they're putting at risk, including like people that they know and people that they care for.
yeah, I don't know. People are just fucking selfish.
Yeah, so like yeah, because like I remember talking to a person because apparently there's a radio presenter who was on air and she was in tears over like not being able to see her parents over Easter, saying like they'd have a family dinner and this at this time of the year, and like that she was in her apartment and like she was making her bed and she just broke out into tears because of this.
Yeah,
And I remember talking to someone, and they're like I don't understand why she just didn't go up to her parents for Easter dinner. And it's like because she could be infected, or her parents could be infected, or she could spread the disease to her parents. That's why.
yeah,
And they just couldn't understand. They couldn't fathom like why didn't she go up to her parents? Like what was causing her not to go to her parents?
yeah.
Why? Like it's like do you not understand this? Like this is a very very simple this is a very simple reason why she didn't go up to her parents.
Yeah, like it's. But even like the length of lockdown, like lockdown's been extended another 3 weeks. Like that is in part, if not majorly, because people are fucking around.
Oh yeah, definitely 100. Yeah, well, I think there are a lot less people like moving around, but like yeah, there's still people driving like to their relatives' houses. I don't think people. I still don't see people out with their friends or family members. A walk, especially yesterday. There was a lot of people like out with like friends going for walks.
Like
Um,
they put in all the checkpoints and stuff over the Easter weekend to stop people going to holiday homes and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I've heard of like three different families that left and went to their holiday homes. They just decided that they were going to go at 3 o'clock in the morning when there's no checkpoints.
yeah, yeah. Or they
So like,
left on a Thursday. Left Thursday
yeah.
morning.
So why not have the checkpoints 24 hours?
Yeah, I think that's for more over resources. What do you call it? That like paying guards to work nights on side of a motorway, like throughout the country. I think it's just
Yeah, but like, fuck it. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done.
yeah. Well, I think what's happening, like, well, even around holiday homes, having these guards who monitor where popular destination where there's a lot of holiday homes around, and obviously when people are like it'd be quite kind of easy to spot people who are new into the town who may have a holiday home, and then just clamping down then so like saying that they can't leave, and obviously they're taking their car reg, and if they're caught on the motorway trying to leave, that they could be done for like making unnecessary journeys or whatever the punishment is.
2.5 grand fine.
Yeah, yeah. So like that's what they possibly could do, but yeah, it like it's a major hassle to try to. It's almost like in order to actually properly police it, you have to kind of strip away a lot of people's freedoms. You have to strip away people's freedom for privacy. So you have to be able to have some sort of kind of system where you can track the entire country's movement at once. You have to be then able to prosecute them for breaking sort of curfews. Like the easiest way for this is for everyone to comply, for everyone to say, okay, we're going to do our bit, and we're not going to leave our house. But that is like we have had an absolute shit winter, and it's now beginning to like go to 20 degrees, 21 degrees. It is extremely like hard to try to like say to people willingly, will you willingly stay just in your back garden if you have a back garden? Like, will you stay in your apartment block when it's 21 degrees? Like, there's not a person in Ireland that is going to stay in their house when it's 21 degrees out.
Yeah, like this is where it's going to start being problematic. Like it's now that the weather's getting better.
Oh yeah, yeah. That like that, and I think that what's also happening is when the coronavirus first came out in Ireland, people were watching it very very closely. Like if there was 10 new cases, people were, oh my god, there's 10 new cases in Ireland. Now it's gone up. Like we get like figures of we've had 500 new confirmed cases, and it's like water on a duck's back. It just rolls off us. It's like it doesn't hit
Yeah,
us. People are kind of like it's kind of also almost faded into the background. Every update that we get on the coronavirus, or even speeches that like Leo Varadkar does about coronavirus, I don't think people are paying as much attention anymore. The novelty of this like deadly disease is almost wearing off, and people are just like it's now start all the warnings and what people are saying that are almost fading into the background.
yeah. It was the same. Like same way when it first came out, everybody was like, "Oh, we need to go into lockdown. We need to go into lockdown. We need to just everybody stay at home or stay away from work and not go to work." And now people have been off work for like 2 weeks and they're like, "Oh, I need to get out of the house.
Yeah,
Ugh, I fucking hate
you
this."
see people bring their kids to the shops. This is like garages, but they're bringing them like at 1 o'clock when it's like already rush hour for like all the essential workers majority that will be out there, or any person that's working generally between 12 and 2 is lunchtime for people, so that's the time where all them are going to be in shops buying rolls, buying coffees, buying whatever, buying their lunch. So like going into shops, going into especially garages around that and bringing your kids is like really high risk time to bring your kids into getting food, like or
Oh yeah,
getting, and they're like literally they're going to get them a chicken roll. They're like, oh, lunchtime. I'm just going to go to a shop and buy my kids chicken rolls with my kids in hand, where they're
like
around people who are interacting with other members of the public.
I
Until
know, I know a family, right? That obviously shops are limiting the amount of people in the shop. So like one person leaves the shop and another person could go out because there's a queue outside the shop to go in. There's a family I know of, right? It's a mother, a father, and they have 4 kids, and they insist on going to the shop and into the shop together. So you have to wait for 6 people to leave the shop before they can go into the shop, and they might buy each of the kids a packet of fucking crisps and a drink, and that's it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They're all buying just snacks. They're all like, all right, we've been in the house together. Let's go buy goodies. And like, it is kind of it's just really strange to be like giving out about weird stuff like this. Like, giving out about the people are buying them kids sweets and going to the shop together as a family. It seems like such a normal thing to do, but like we're not in a normal situation, and this is what's spreading the disease. And then people have coughs and they are ignoring the fact that they have cough and are pushing it off as like, oh no, it's a smoker's cough. And you're like, you don't smoke.
Yeah,
Oh, I've
like
had this cough months.
like obviously the situations where people can't avoid bringing their kids with them. Like it might be a single parent family or whatever, some shit like that. So that's fine. You can't have anybody else mind your kids. You need to bring your kids with you. But when you've got both parents are off, both parents have gone to the shop. Can one parent not stay outside with the fucking kids?
Yeah, like it's like, or you stay in the car or keep your kids in the car. Like I understand if they're below 10 that like you mightn't want to keep them in the car by themselves.
Yeah,
and like yeah, you might be a single parent, so you might have to bring them. But like yeah, people are actually they are taking the piss, with this, and yeah, some people are taking the restrictions quite seriously. Though there's so there obviously there's been a lot of events cancelled quite recently, and a lot of weddings have been particularly affected. Anybody I know a lot of people who were meant to go to weddings, all of them had to be postponed. And there's a couple in England now. The woman who did this, she was able to have her kind of hen stew just before lockdown happened in the UK. So she was grand. She wasn't feeling too bad about it. But her husband wasn't able to actually have his stag. So she basically him a stag in his house. Obviously, she couldn't have any of his friends over because of the whole social distancing thing and gathering of people. It was she told her husband that like they're gonna have a date night, and obviously she must have sent him out to get goods or sent him out for a while, because when he returned, the house was decorated as a karaoke / strip club, and she had dressed herself up as a lad in a suit and had a blow up punch doll that they had around the house as a bouncer that she made him show ID to as they came into this karaoke / a strip club. She had all of his friends or some of his friends on a Skype group call in the sitting room, as well as like cupcakes with their faces on it and a private dance area. So some people are trying to get around. They're finding other ways of getting around. Obviously, missing out on big dues like stag dues. You're recently married. Would it bothered you if you weren't able to have your stag do? Or
Do you not remember my stag do?
yeah, that was more drinks after you got married. Can't have a stag do after you
No,
get
no, no.
married.
No, my stag do happened. Do you not remember when ye all went out drinking and FaceTimed me?
Oh yeah, yeah, you were there. Technically, you're on. This is
We should give we should give context to listeners. So like I went to Vegas and got married without telling anybody.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly.
yeah.
So we decided to have a promptu stag do for Ken, even though he wasn't there. So we got a picture of Ken, and we would all took turns of wearing it as a mask, and that's and basically had a stag do for Ken.
Yeah, it was a good night.
It's a good night, yeah.
I think what Rory said. Rory said it was my fault. He bought everybody shots of Jack Daniels that night, and he can't remember.
Oh yeah. Everyone had a little bit too much to drink, and then yeah, I think people started to actually act as if it was a stag, or actually act if we were celebrating your wedding instead of an ordinary night out, and that got kind of like it turned into like basically a stag. So yeah, people started acting as if it was a stag, and buying rounds of drink and shots. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
so good time.
Yeah, good times. You weren't there, but yeah, obviously this couldn't happen in the UK because pubs are closed, and his fiance felt bad, so she threw him a stag herself. I don't know. I don't think it would be as good. I'd be kind of like, but she obviously went to a lot of effort because like the strip club had these wooden boards with strippers painted onto them. Like it was hand painted. So I don't know, like if she made them herself or if she figured out a way of buying them online, maybe on Amazon, hiding them from her like husband, and then so like this is like a few weeks kind of preparation. But yeah, I thought that was a more creative way of dealing with self isolation and like trying to continue on, but I guess like a safe manner.
Yeah.
I think what we'll probably have to leave for our final story is one that's kind of it's a conspiracy theory that's been kind of going around now. 5G is this like if you talk to the people behind 5G or a lot of the phone companies, or broadband companies is this is the next level of communication. This is going to change the way people in rural areas are able to access the internet, way we can work from home and strengthen our kind of internet capacity. But it hasn't stopped like conspiracy theories all over the world coming up with very different ways that 5G is a huge inter-country conspiracy of control and possibly sabotage. So there's been conspiracy theories that could be used to kill people with the kind of frequency that it lets off. It's something to do with birds and stop, like it messes with birds and can kill birds because of the frequency, or messes up their way they navigate around the world because they use kind of Earth's magnetic fields in order to kind of get themselves around the world. And this apparently this 5G can actually mess with that kind of sense of travel. But now the latest of the conspiracy theories is that the coronavirus is helping to spread 5G is helping to spread the coronavirus.
Yeah, I don't see how that's possible.
So I was listening to the radio and they had a guy on who has a conspiracy podcast. If I knew the name of it, I would give them a shout out. But it is apparently an Irish conspiracy podcast, so maybe we should try to get them on and they can go into more detail about it. But the idea of it, the kind of like I think in Wuhan is where China started to test 5G internet because of its rural area. It'd be very, very hard to put masts everywhere. So 5G was the ideal starting place for the test 5G internet in Wuhan, and that was the epicenter of the coronavirus. And then there were in Italy also, I think around Milan also, or Italy also had a lot of 5G. They've also adopted a lot of 5G masts, and they are using 5G more than any other European country. And those two are the two worst affected areas. And they also said that other areas that didn't have 5G internet at all had a lot lower cases of the coronavirus. And this is how to connect dots here. So places of Africa obviously wouldn't have 5G internet, and they have very low tested cases of the coronavirus. That doesn't say that Africa doesn't have the means of testing people. That obviously you can't test for the coronavirus, so they won't have as much people. It's because of like the fact that parts of Africa have abject poverty, so they probably don't have 4G internet. They barely have any internet.
And they probably still have dial-up.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that this is spread to like all over the world, even in countries that have very little or no 5G internet. So like there isn't huge, like the argument for that 5G internet is causing to spread the coronavirus. Like there isn't a whole lot of like evidence that like supports their claim.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all shite. Like I vaguely remember before I left my man dad's house. Like I moved out like what, 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Like they had gotten they changed internet providers, and like they were provided with a 5G box, like a 5G router thing.
Yeah.
So like, you know, why has it taken so long then for this coronavirus thing to come around? When coronavirus is like a group of fucking viruses. So surely if 5G was like, you know, making everybody catch COVID-19, should everybody not have been catching like pneumonia and the fucking flu and stuff for the last few years?
Well, they said like they could probably say, well, there was actually around the world there was an increased death toll of the flu. So there is another. I think researchers are looking into flu season just gone, and because there was around the US and around Ireland and UK, and there were increased deaths from the flu season and increased really harsh cases of the flu.
But
So
would that not be? Could that not be explained by anti-vaxxers? People
um,
who aren't getting vaccines and shit.
well, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think the flu jab is really taken up by a lot of people. I think, like, I don't know anybody who gets a flu jab. I know a load of old people that refuse to get a flu jab because they think it gives them the flu. They say they get sick. The last time they got the flu jab, that they got sick from it. So like
Yeah, like that's generally how a vaccine works, isn't it? You get like a very, very mild case of.
yeah, but I think with the flu jab that sometimes that either it protects against a certain strain of the flu and not all different strains of the flu. So what they're working on now and what they've been working on for years is a flu jab that covers all flus. I think you'd need about 8 flu jabs in order to cover all the flus that variants of the strains of different types of flus that you can get. Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why the flu jab isn't as effective before. And then obviously some people who get the flu jab might also get sick on their, let's say, on their way to the doctors, might get sick, might catch the disease in the doctors. And I think maybe once you have it, if you have the flu, it won't cure the flu jab won't cure you of the flu.
Mm.
So maybe that's why the people are getting sick once they get the flu jab. That like, but yeah, like I don't really, I I don't think 5G, like really don't think 5G is causing the death toll, but that still hasn't caused like people to like start burning masts all around the world. Now, one of the reasons, like they did say that this technology was only started to be tested in like last year. So I don't know if it was around 2 years. I think it might have only been rolled out last year or the end of last year.
Mm.
But there's people around Ireland, New Zealand, and Holland who are burning masts because of this conspiracy theory, or one of the conspiracy theories at least coming out. Now there is another strain of the conspiracy theory that said that the government are using the coronavirus in order to actually put up 5G masts. So they're telling people to stay in their home so they can put up 5G masts around the country, so people can't see them putting up 5G masts and don't know where they're located. So if everyone has to stay in their house, that means that like they can stick up the 5G masts and people won't recognise them. So Irish people, there's one case last Sunday where an Irish person actually burnt down what he thought was a 5G mast, and Air had to come out and say no. In fact, we thought that was a 5G mast that he burnt down. In fact, it was a 4G mast that he was burning down. So people are just burning them down masts. I think in Holland or New Zealand, it was actually a telephone mast. Had nothing to do with broadband at all that
Like
they burnt down.
these people that are burning down masts are probably the exact same people that will be complaining that my internet doesn't work. You know, like, they're probably the exact same people. I can't look up my conspiracy theories on the internet because my internet doesn't work.
The government's blocked
Yeah,
my internet because I burnt down the masts.
yeah, 'cause you're burning a mast, you fucking idiot.
Uh, yeah, I actually say there's probably it would be exactly the people that are like this internet is so slow.
Yeah, the internet here is really shit.
Like, why is the
Yeah,
internet so shit?
you burnt down the 5G mast, you prick.
That 100% is definitely is what happened with these people. They were like, "Why is the internet so slow?"
Yeah, like
After as they're watching the mass burn down, the reception here is
like,
shit.
it's 100% ironic that like people read a conspiracy theory on the internet and now they're going to destroy the fucking thing that brought the internet to their house.
Brought the information to them. We must
Yeah,
destroy this
like
technology.
yeah, like I seen on the internet there that 5G caused coronavirus. Let's burn down the 5G mast. Oh man, my internet's not working. You fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, like before the coronavirus, there were still people giving out about 5G, saying that it's going to be used to brainwash us, or it could be used like despite the frequency in order to take out targets. And yeah, there are
But
there.
like that's naturally going to be like fucking byproduct of it. Like the internet was invented as a military grade communications network. Obviously, advances to the internet and broadband and stuff are going to be used for military purposes.
Well, I think what was that Chinese phone company? Oh, Huawei.
Mobile phone? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Huawei has a contract around the world, or at least I think in Ireland, about installing 5G masts. And now they're a Chinese company, so basically they're owned by the Chinese government.
Yeah.
So if you want to get really conspiracy theories, you would be like saying that, oh yeah, well, Huawei could actually put in ways that the Chinese government could spy on us. This is a potentially legit concern with Huawei being the ones that are putting in the 5G masts, is that the Chinese government could use these masts in order to collect information that people's search history and use it that way. Like that could,
But sure,
but
like
like in terms of Facebook does
most
that
computers,
anyway.
yeah, like most computers in the world contain some sort of a product from Intel. Intel's a fucking Irish company in leak slip. So are we spying on everybody? No.
Yeah,
It's just
I
the
don't
fucking
know if that
company coming from the
technology
country.
can be used to spy on people though. Like in terms of, I think it's fact that it's China and China is seen as more sinister or more capable of using technology like this in order to like gain the upper hand over kind of like the West.
I just think people are just fucking crazy and need to relax.
Yeah, no, like in fairness, like I don't think 5G is bad. I probably would prefer if it wasn't Huawei putting in masts around the country. I'd probably prefer if it was maybe an Irish or ideally Irish, but like maybe a trusted other company. Like I don't trust Huawei because of the fact that they're basically run by the Chinese government or property of the Chinese government.
Nah, it'll be all right.
Yeah, Chinese haven't
It'll
done
be
that to
fine.
us and sunk
Yeah,
any of our ships.
it'll be
We
fine.
grand.
If you're
Uh,
worried about people, check out your search history. Then really, you're the problem.
yeah, that's probably actually the case. I think on that note, we'll leave there by by accusing all our listeners of being the problem.
Again.
Yeah, again, yeah. So make sure you subscribe to the Shite Talk Podcast Show to get up to date content and insults from us. If you want to send us insults or comments, you can do show at shitetalk at gmail. Shite Talk Podcast Show at gmail.com. One day going to get that right, first time around. We're also on most social medias other than TikTok or any of the newer ones because we're kind of old at this stage. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the classics. So make sure you can send us messages there. For any information or topics you think we should be talking about, you can send in to us as well.
Yeah, send random shit.
Yeah, we love random shit.
Except for conspiracy theories.
Actually, I do like conspiracy theories. Send me send conspiracy theories into us. We do generally talk about conspiracy theories a lot if we do get them. We did. I in fact remember doing a full show on it not long ago.
Yeah, totally misinformed.
Yeah, showed that the combined research took 20 minutes and was a YouTube video and maybe 2 articles read.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, check it out. I think it's called Shite Talk's Conspiracy Show. Yeah, so we'll actually, like I said, leave it there. We're back next Thursday with another show, and we'll talk to you then.
Good luck.
Shut up and sit down.